So, we continue. King Henry VIII. Henry VIII was King of England from 1509 until his death in 1547. Henry is the best known for his 6 married and he particular his effort to have a first married annuals. Henry born June 28, 1491, Palace of Valencial. Death January 28, 1547. Buried in 1547 State George Chapel, Windsor, United Kingdom. Spouse Catherine Parr. The children of Henry VIII is Elizabeth in the England, May and England and more. So we just tackled the Henry early life. Henry was born in June 18, 1491, the second son of Henry the Seventh, the first England's ruler from the House of Tudor. While his older brother Arthur was being prepared for the throne, Henry was strayed toward the church career with a broad educations in theology, music, language, and poetry and sport. Henry VIII. So they just then that the first year as a king, Henry VIII. Henry took the throne at age 17, married in Catherine or Aragon 6 weeks later. Over the next 15 years, Henry fought their war with France. Catherine bore him their sons and their daughter are all but one of the who death of infancy. The sole survivor was Mary, later Mary I, born in 1516. So we just tackled the Henry VIII death and the legacy. Henry death as age 55, January 28, 1547. His 9-year-old son Edward the Fifth, Edward the Sixth, succeeded him as a king, but 6 years later, Mary I spent 5 years reign steering England back into the Catholic fold. But Elizabeth in the largest reigning of the Tudor more much his entrenched her father religion's reform. That was Henry. So Henry VIII is the best known as his 6 wives. Most British school children learns the following rhyme to help them remember the rate of each wife: divorce, beheaded, siya din nakauna na, death, discovered, beheaded, and survived. Everyone's recognized his portrait, a fat, the largest than life individual, wearing clothes set with jewels and sporting a nets and beard is Henry in the later life. In his youth he was handsome, handsome and artistic, ar- athletic, and most eligible prince in Europe. Henry was also complex man, intelligence, mysterious, flamboyant, extravagant, athletic, musical, on point, ruthless, arrogant, and passionate. Henry driving George and Mildred was lead him to this bird two wives and have two wives. Wives. Have you known Henry have a wife which Jane Seymour and Anne Selvis. A, a portrait of Anne was painted by hand and Benz, probably the most famous of the Tudor court painters, and Henry agreed to the match. However, on the meeting, Anne near and told countries and he and his talk and immediately dislike to her. He famously refers to her as a Pendenmers and told countries and ambassadors that the could not perform his husbandly duty became an parent. Both patients were happy for married to be included after just 6 months, and Ad was greeted and generous married to be annual after became several homes, including Nevercastle, and remained in England and was required visitors to court as a homeowner guest. She enjoyed an independent lifestyle, very different from that Henry or discovered wife Catherine. Cromwell, however, was not forever that encouraged that dissenter much and was executed on the drafted of chains of treason. And that's all about Henry the Eighth.